Hey. Hey. Sound check. 1, 2, 1, 2. I may be Irish, but I'm not a leprechaun. I like grass and its seed. No pesticide, please, because this grass that I love gas, not making no fun gas. Come join me in first class. We go make some brown mass. Healthy bowel moves, making you want to groove. There's no counter move as soon as you improve. Nervous system immunity, the metabolization of your feed, satisfying your communities, banqueting on that all-important F seed, making your guts the best guts. Come hero that fluff stuff. Green, high-fiber feed that we all undeniably need. Converting seed to short acid, enzyming your elements, isotope mass numbers derived from my love grass numbers, radioactive speed, please. My salt fiber got me at ease. So come join me in my class. We're gonna bypass that bad gas. Brown teff seed, I got a brown teff need. Woo-hoo! I've not done that in years.
I don't have in the bio that you're a rapper. That is awesome. So for our very final demonstration, that is the Ballymaloe Festival of Food celebrating 60 years, we have the amazing Karen O'Donohoe.
Thanks, Tracie.
I'm going to take a couple of seconds to read out your fabulous bio, but it's not bloody long enough. So I know you are going to share so much throughout this demo.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring us on a deeper journey, which I'm excited about. But Karen O'Donohoe, this little ledge here, founded the Happy Tummy Company in London in 2015 after realizing that people with digestive health issues were struggling to find food solutions. She now lives on the west coast of Ireland, where she has a school and the most buzzed about bakery in the country, serving customers throughout Ireland and the UK. Her teachings on bread have been called industry leading and her bakes life-changing. Karen, what the heck? What the heck? Tell us more.
Hi guys. So basically my story began when I popped out of my mom. So I was born with chronic digestive health issues. So I was born with IBS constipation, which in a way was very good news for my mother because she always had clean nappies. But then eventually it started to worry her. And so that's basically the start of my journey. I was bowel health challenged. And into my teens and my early 20s, I might go for one bowel movement a week. And so eventually that really catches up on you. What it does is, number one, obviously it makes you look 9 months pregnant all the time, but essentially your body is inflamed, and so that inflammation just moves around the body to all the various organs. So what happened was in my teens, and as I progressed into early adulthood, I became severely depressed because my brain was so inflamed, my coping mechanisms were being really challenged, my resilience was very low, my self-esteem was really low, I had back pain, I had knee pain, I had joint pain. So what happens is when you aren't having a bowel movement every day, you have toxic buildup. So each cell in the body is flushed out every day through potassium. Potato skins are an incredible source of potassium. So if you're eating 2 potatoes a day alongside a really good diet, technically your cells should be able to rejuvenate and clean themselves out every day. But if you are, like me, bowel health challenged, that's not enough. And I was to discover this in early adulthood. So when I was in my early 20s, my mother had passed away when I was quite young of cancer, and my parents are horticulturists. So I grew up in Cork, just off Model Farm Road, and every Easter, me, my brother and sister would plant thousands of beech saplings, bay saplings, maples. And I remember being 10 years old, and my mother was in the house on chemotherapy at the time. And I remember and this sounds maybe weird, but maybe it doesn't to an Irish audience because we're quite naturally spiritual and intuitive anyway, but I remember looking up at the sky and thinking, one day I want to create a brand that stands for preventative medicine. And I didn't know how that was going to evolve. I just had this feeling in me, especially when you work so hardcore with the earth, you really understand that our life is dependent on soil life. And that was really visceral for me. You know, when we were young, we were eating good food. And by good food, I mean whole food that's organic. So I technically was eating a healthy diet. But I was out to here, and my brother and sister were really, really slim, and we were all eating the same diet, but their expression of the diet we were eating was very different to my expression of the diet we were eating. They were slim, they were going to the loo every day. Their brain health and their attention span at the time was far greater than mine was back then. And so in my early 20s, science and maths were my best subjects in school, and so I just deep dived into gut health. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of what we understand about gut health. So we all know what fiber is, but it was only in 1978 that we discovered two types of fiber. Originally, we thought fiber was just fiber. It was in 1978 that we discovered, oh, there's insoluble fiber and there's soluble fiber. And we need both. But we don't farm our foods in the right ratios anymore because of conventional farming. So every single person sitting here today is meant to eat 3 parts insoluble fiber to 1 part soluble fiber. That's the ratio that your chemical makeup is really desiring for your body to thrive. So if you feel like I've got sluggish digestion, I've got poor metabolism health, etc., of course you're not thriving. And that means, pivot moment, I got to look at my diet. That's all that's at play. Medicine and supplements came about in the 1930s when governments everywhere agreed that their nations were malnourished. So if you were to read one report on this topic, I incentivize you to read a thing called Are We Well Fed? It's an excellent paper that was commissioned in 1934 by the American president, and this document gives you a really succinct rundown of what happened. That turn of events was the thing that basically made us a nourished world to a malnourished world. So all across Asia, as soon as we started taking off the bran from the rice that we eat, as soon as we started eating polished rice, polished barley, our anxiety disorders went poof. So all over Asia, governments are like, what is going on with our people? They have anxiety. They are all over the place. They are chaotic. Their lifespan is reducing. They are unwell. What is happening? And through very, very intense studies, they discovered that because they were now only eating the inside of the food, they weren't eating insoluble fiber anymore, because insoluble fiber is always on the outside of the food. So all of these Asians were getting really constipated. Also, what's really crucial for your health and what exists on the outside of your food are B vitamins. And we all know the importance of B vitamins for brain health. So without enough B vitamins in your diet every single day of your life, your brain deteriorates, which means your coping mechanisms deteriorate. You have very little resilience. And over a few days, over a week, over a month, that malnourishment intrinsically affects your nervous system for good. So in 1933, the American government commissioned a London scientist to make a bee supplement. And that bee supplement for 1 gram cost $376 to make because they used food to make it. 1 gram, $376. So that shows you the value in food, okay? Because if I want 1 gram of vitamin B and that costs me that much, we know how important food is. So then, as soon as they started synthesizing in 1938, that bee supplement cost 73 cents to make. And thus began the deterioration of global health. In 1938, our gut bacteria was 60% greater than it is today. In 1938, we were eating 6 teaspoons more sugar per day than we are today, but we were eating about 30 grams more fiber per day. And so the idea that sugar is the culprit for all health issues is completely false. What is factually correct and agreed on worldwide is fiber is the source of life, and as soon as your fiber consumption deteriorates, your health deteriorates. Why is that? Because there is a third type of fiber, and that fiber is known as resistant starch, aka prebiotic fiber, aka way better than any probiotic you will buy in a bottle. So prebiotic fiber, which is in all foods, is essential for life. Why is it essential for life? Because everything starts with our good gut bacteria, and their food of choice is prebiotic fiber. So as soon as you ingest a morsel of food, the prebiotic fiber from that morsel of food goes to the colon, the gut bacteria chew on it, and now they have energy to create enzymes. Some of you here will have taken digestive enzymes to aid the digestive health in you. Again, a capitalist solution to a capitalist problem. You don't need to take digestive enzymes because you can create them with a whole food diet. So now that your gut bacteria has been well fed its food of choice, it creates enzymes. Those enzymes are the workhorses of our bodies, and those enzymes break down the rest of the food that you've just eaten, and they send all the essential nutrients to each organ of the body that needs those. My brain needs some vitamin A right now. My skin needs vitamin E because I'm in the sun and I don't want to get burnt. I need vitamin C. I need vitamin A. I need vitamin A to look clearly at the computer screen. Our bodies are highly complex and highly intelligent. And so these vitamins and minerals are going to each organ of the body that need them, and that's amazing. But that can only happen if you have enough prebiotic fiber to feed your gut bacteria. So your brain health only has a shot at thinking clearly with resilience and strength if it has been nourished with its food of choice. The second thing to happen when you consume a piece of food is through the metabolization of complex carbohydrate, you create a byproduct which is known as a short-chain fatty acid. Short-chain fatty acids are the anti-inflammatory that you need. They are way better than ibuprofen. I don't know if anyone here has taken ibuprofen, but I've taken a whole bunch of it for my period pain over the years, and it does not work. But as soon as I ingest a complex carbohydrate that has been through a soak or a ferment, that works for my period pain, and I'll discuss that further when we're doing the porridge. So short-chain fatty acids, you need them in your diet. You need them 3 times a day. And so that's why there is an epidemic in the UK at the moment whereby lots of men are eating a high-protein, low-carb diet, and colon cancer is now a common thing with men in their 40s. And it is a really, really serious problem. And it is putting a lot of pressure on the NHS. So during the 1940s, all of these supplement brands came up, and their marketing basically was, put the supplements on the dinner table with the salt and pepper, and you can eat whatever you want. And so that marketing was a global campaign. And if you go on Google, you can see all these posters. You can see these ridiculously messaged posters that say, eat the white flour, have pancakes for breakfast, just take your supplements. That is just completely ludicrous because the body can't metabolize everything in a supplement. It can only metabolize food. And so in my early 20s, I investigated, okay, what do I need to do to extend a long and healthy life? What do I need to do so that I don't get cancer? 50% of the deaths in this country today are because of heart disease and cancer. Both of those illnesses can be completely eradicated or at the very least decreased through the right amount of fiber consumption every day. The RDA of fiber consumption in this country today is 38 grams for a male, 30 grams for a woman. Pre the Industrial Revolution, when our microbiome health was 60% greater than it is today, we were eating 50 to 100 grams fiber per day, and we were having 3 bowel movements a day. In this country right now, the average fiber consumption is 12 to 14 grams. Why is that? Because we peel our potatoes for Sunday roast, we peel our vegetables, we peel our carrots, we're peeling off our B vitamins, our natural laxative, our zinc, our calcium, our vitamin E, our iron, and our magnesium. All vitamins and minerals that are essential to both male and female health and the development of our children. Really, really serious. It is an epidemic right now, and it's why immune health is so, so low in most human beings across the world. So during my early 20s, I was like, okay, there is a way of processing food that is going to make it digestible. Okay, got that. Now there are ingredients that are going to be way more functional than other ingredients, because you got to think, if you eat 3 meals a day, you want to make sure that you pack as much nourishment into those meals so that you can hit your fiber RDAs, which are incredibly hard to hit in a modern day food system. If you're eating food here today, it's very unlikely that you're hitting your fiber content, because we're not using enough whole grains right now. We're not soaking them, we're not fermenting them with rye starters. And that's not an attack on anyone, I'm just stating the facts, because that's what we need to do in Ireland right now. So, soaking is an incredibly easy way of unlocking the nourishment in your food. Okay, so if you have sluggish digestion, or if you say, my metabolism is really slow, what's up with you is that you don't have enough phosphorus in your diet. So phosphorus is what is essential for your metabolism to work really well, but phosphorus needs to be unlocked before it exists in the food that you eat. So grains, nuts, seeds, pulses, all of those complex carbohydrates that are high in fiber have a huge amount of phytic acid in them. Phytic acid is negatively charged, and then you've got all these other positively charged things like magnesium, calcium, vitamin E, which are positively charged. So all of these ions are locked up in one, and they need to be put through a slow food process to unbind them from one another, so that as soon as you ingest these incredible foods, you have a chance of assimilating the nourishment from that food. And that is how we were designed to eat. Unfortunately, we're not cows. We don't have 2 stomachs. If we were cows, we wouldn't have to do all this food prep. But we're human. We have 1 stomach. We don't have 2. So we need to remember that there's a stomach outside the one that lives in us that needs to pre-digest all of our food to make it nourishing. And so there are 3 processes that are essential for all complex carbohydrate: soaking, fermentation, sprouting. Soaking is super easy. Just soak your rice, soak your porridge. Fermentation, a bit more complex. You're using starter cultures. The benefit of fermentation is that it increases the prebiotic fiber by 30% in the food that you eat, and it also increases the B vitamins by 30%. So if you have the time, if you have the habitual behavior necessary to give your breads time, then fermentation, of course, that's the best form to use. Sprouting, similar to soaking, maybe a little bit more nuanced. But today, I would love for each of you to leave and start soaking all of your complex carbohydrates. And I guarantee you one thing: if you soak all of your whole grain carbohydrates, your bowel health will change in 3 days. That's all it takes, 3 days. In 2 weeks, your nervous system will change. In a year, your brain health, it's like pressing a regen button. It will be completely different. In 10 years, you're a whole new person. As we age, our gut bacteria dies off. So technically, as you age, you get unwell. That's when disease arise. I'm obviously older now than I was 10 years previous, but my brain health, my coping mechanisms, my ability to go for amazing poo have completely increased because I am eating in the right ratios. So the ratios are this: 3 parts insoluble fiber to 1 part soluble fiber. 66% dietary protein to 33% dietary 66% dietary fiber to 33% dietary protein. And then on top of that, all you got to remember is whereby you eat protein, make sure there's a carbohydrate present, because if you eat protein without carbohydrate, through the fermentation of protein, you have ammonia in your colon, and that's what causes cancer. And that's why colon cancer is increasing. So please, 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 please do not eat just meat. Please eat carbohydrates with it. The mission at the Happy Tummy Company is to reduce the number of people in this country that are dying of cancer and heart disease. And we can do that by 30% if we get enough of you on a high fiber diet. So that's what we're trying to do today. So this recipe, guys, if you can make this recipe even twice a week, it is going to be your pivot moment. Okay, there's lots of women here, okay? So at the bakery in Westport, I have lots of women and men, but mostly women, come to me without gallbladders. Has anyone here had a gallbladder removed? No? Okay, good. So no one wants their gallbladder removed, but it's the most common surgery in Ireland right now. And essentially it's rectified by just having a bit more HCl in the diet. So there are little tweaks. Okay, so we live on an island surrounded by incredible seaweed. 80% of the women in this room right now are deficient in iodine. Iodine is essential for your thyroid. Lots of women in their 40s are getting thyroid issues because of a lack of iodine in the diet. No GP is going to tell you that because they don't know this. They weren't trained to know this. We're not dissing the medical system. They are amazing, and they are keeping people alive with chemotherapy and radiation. So the GPs, they are not trained to treat you through food. So there is no expectation there. But 80% of you are iodine deficient. We know that to be true. The easiest way to get more iodine into your diet is to eat a tablespoon or 2 of seaweed every day. And this recipe is a really tasty way of doing that. Prebiotic fiber. You guys need loads of prebiotic fiber in your diet. It's really hard to get it into your diet through just Irish ingredients. And for that reason, we're the only importer in Ireland right now of teff grain. And I'm going to hand some around to you guys so you can see and feel this teff grain. So teff grain is the seed of love grass. And love grass was the first grass ever domesticated for human consumption. So during around 8000 BC, that's when we became a civilized people. Before that, we were hunter-gatherers. And FYI, when we were hunter-gatherers, we were not eating wheat. We were eating pulses, legumes, seeds, nuts, berries, very high in prebiotic fiber and very high in insoluble fiber. But then, as soon as we became civilized and we started building walls and keeping animals, we started growing grass. And we all obviously come from Ethiopia, you know that. So teff, absolutely tiny, naturally gluten-free, the only grain that has vitamin C in it, huge amounts of magnesium, zinc, iron, all B vitamins, and a complete set of amino acids, so it's fantastic for vegetarians and vegans. Really, really potent and powerful. And then oats, a classic Irish ingredient which I love using. But a lot of people here will make a 100% oat porridge and they won't soak it. Oats have the lowest amount of digestive enzyme. So if, like me, you've got IBS constipation and you're eating a 100% oat porridge, you have made life incredibly hard for you. Phytase is the enzyme that's essential for the digestion of grain. Phytase is lowest in oats. Thank you, darling. So we want to mix our oats with other grains that have a high amount of phytase, and teff is it. So I'm here to teach you how to make a porridge that is going to give you loads of fiber, loads of iron, loads of iodine, loads of your B complex, all your amino acids. This breakfast, if you have this every day for 2 weeks, you've pressed the regen button. So people have gone a little bit mad on kind of things like ashwagandha and turmeric and these medicines that actually are treated as medicine in those parts of the world. So people are having turmeric lattes every day. They're just like shaking ashwagandha on everything. That is wrong. Those levels, if you're using that ingredient, that's a toxicity in your body. And then on top of that, if you've got constipation, IBS, you're not excreting the byproducts of the fermentation of those spices. That's not cool. That's not good. So I use black pepper. Black pepper is a spice that you can eat every day. It is safe to eat every day. Cardamom, again, a spice that is safe to eat every day in the doses that we're using today. Cardamom is incredible source of zinc. Your immune system is dependent on zinc. So today, we basically kind of have a 50-50 ratio of teff grain to oats. So yesterday, I started soaking this at about 2 p.m., so it's had a 24-hour soak. So when it comes to milk, raw dairy milk is best. The reason being is, raw dairy milk is the best carrier of phytase, that digestive enzyme I speak about. And so if you want to eat something that's super digestive, you want to be using raw dairy milk. If you guys are lactose intolerant and things like that, by all means, use nut milks because the process of soaking is going to be good enough anyway. But if you want to make this meal as potently nourishing as possible, you want to get involved in raw milk season, which is now. So we've been soaking these ingredients overnight in the milk. And so it kind of, what happens is it becomes thick, obviously, and it absorbs that. And then the next day, which is now, we're going to add some water. In this country today, the average person spends 22 minutes cooking per day. This porridge takes 6 minutes to cook. And so a lot of the work that I do at the Happy Tummy Co. is I try to make recipes that people will actually be able to make within 22 minutes. There's no point in teaching you guys how to make food that takes 45 minutes to make, because most people don't do that. So 6 minutes is achievable. Okay, so along with this, I'm using, there's an incredible farmer, seaweed harvester in Donegal. So I'm using a mixed variety of seaweeds here today. Of course, you could just use one variety, but we know that the colon needs variety, so the more variety, the better. And dried seaweed, it's super stable and it stays fresh for quite a while. Okay, this is a savory porridge. So because you need 66 parts dietary fiber to 33% dietary protein, I'm using an egg so that I can make this ratio work. So our eggs come from a regenerative farm in Galway called Mad Yolk Farm. We all need more omega in our diet, and eggs are an essential and amazing source of omega. But it's night and day shop-bought eggs to well-farmed eggs. So there is 6 times the amount of omega in a regeneratively farmed egg that there is in a shop-bought egg. So when you're driving all around Ireland and you see eggs for sale, you better stop by and put that €2 in the box and buy those eggs, because those eggs are going to be such a great source of all your omegas. And we know that omega helps deplete the chances of getting heart disease, and it's essential for brain health and coping mechanisms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the porridge. We're going to fry an egg, because fried egg's really tasty. And then also, I use a little bit of maple syrup, so we know sugar isn't a problem. We know we just need more fiber in our diet. I'm in Mayo, so we're very lucky to have Achill Sea Salt on our doorstep, who harvest salt for us once a month. And then Pax import spices for us, and then we also import spices from Ethiopia. So the cardamom and the black pepper come from them. Pestle and mortar. So if you want your food to be even more digestible, you want to make sure that you're processing it coldly. So I always use the pestle and mortar to pestle and mortar my spices, so I don't put them through a grinder. I don't want to shatter them. So using a stone or a wooden-based pestle and mortar, I use a pestle and mortar every single day. I pestle and mortar everything. I don't own a blender. I don't own any of that fancy equipment. It's just keeping it simple, soaking and grinding, soaking and grinding, soaking and grinding. So you don't need anything fancy. And then we also are going to, we're going to use a little bit of salt. People are a little bit afraid of salt, but salt is absolutely essential at also keeping us not inflamed. Today I'm using Mary Mill porridge oats. These guys are absolutely phenomenal, love what they do. So I'm just going to get this on, and I'm just going to quickly soft fry these eggs. And as I'm cooking, guys, I am really happy to take questions. Oh, would you mind getting me some butter, Tracy?
Butter?
Butter, yeah, for the frying pan. I feel like it's quite a small thing, so like if you guys even want to come up closer, because I want you guys to see what we're doing and taste, and I want you guys to really taste the seaweed in this porridge and get involved. So I'd love for you guys to come up around me and actually look at the consistency of the porridge, if you're happy to just come up on stage and look. So come up. You don't have to come up, but it's nice for you to see. And would someone like to do some pestle and mortaring? Yeah? You come up and do the pestle and mortaring. So have a stir of that, guys, and feel the consistency of it. And then if you want to pestle, you're always the person. Yeah. If you want to do the pestle and mortaring. So yeah, I'd go for it, hon. Yeah, and kind of like exactly that. So everyone take a stir of this so that you really feel the consistency. And stay with me whilst I pour in the water so we can see how kind of liquidy you've got to make it. So we're just going to put the pot up here. So, and also, by the way, guys, please, all of you, use your phones and take a photograph of this recipe before you go. Thanks, babe. That's amazing. Ah, look at that. Look at that. So, do we have grams? Okay, cool. So, now the next day, guys, super simple. We're just going to add the water. Now, I can't guarantee that this will take 6 minutes because it's a huge pot, because I wanted to be able to feed you all. And this is beautiful well water from Ballymaloe, which is great. I can remove this for you, hon, if you want to take a better... Yes, darling. So we sell it on our website, and we do next day delivery all around Ireland. So we deliver anything up from 1 kilo to 10 kilos, and it's €6 for next day delivery. You can get it in some like health food stores, but that teff is not from Ethiopia, and we don't support that farming. So the one that you get in health food stores normally comes from Holland, but the genome that they grow in those countries, they only feed to horses in Ethiopia. So I'm really passionate about people supporting the collaborative in Ethiopia. How's that? Yeah, keep going. And I'm going to swap places with you now, hon. Yeah. Okay. So, as we all know, you always have to stir the porridge pot. Marie, do you want to stir the porridge? I'm just going to get that on. And oh, sorry. Yeah, got it. Okay, brilliant. Okay, cool. So we've got our butter. Okay, legend. Yeah, keep going there. You're like, this pestle and mortar is too small for this job. Okay, do you know what? You all love pepper, and it's fantastic for your digestion. So if you get a peppercorn in your throat, we'll love you first. So you can, and then I'm going to get you to do some of the cardamom as well. So cardamom, guys, a lot of people find it a bit soapy and things like that. So if you don't like cardamom, will you jump in here, gentlemen? So if you don't like cardamom, you don't have to have it, but just use a different spice and just bang away at it. Okay, great. So now we're going to fry our eggs. But this dish is just like using the best of Irish ingredients mixed with, the stuff that we're importing, like the teff grain and the spices. And it's using spices in the best way possible. So spice for breakfast is just a great way to start the day, I think. I think that's enough butter, isn't it? Say that again, hon?
Butter's fine.
Butter is amazing. Butter is amazing. When you're using equipment for the first time, you're like, how's this going to go? Is this egg going to fry well?
You can do it.
Oh, gosh. These eggs, guys. So we have this loaf called the Happy Tummy loaf, and we use 3 eggs per loaf. So there's a huge amount of omega going into our loaves. There's also, we have like loads of nuts, loads of seeds, teff grain, buckwheat, and then apple cider vinegar from... Does anyone here get the High Bank Orchard apple cider vinegar?
Yes, I do.
They have the most amount of phenolics when you compare them to any other apple cider vinegar in the world. So we have incredible...
And they're next door.
Say that again,
next
hon?
door. High Bank Orchard are next door.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Definitely grab a bottle before you go home if you can. How are you getting on? Yeah, so what you can do is try and kind of discard the shell, and then we'll leave the actual inside.
What I love about your loaf is it freezes so well.
Yeah.
And the days, especially I work 1 week in the month and it's super busy, and I know if I take the bread out the night before, I fry an egg, and I'm ready to go till 2 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, it's got because we're baking in these ratios that I tell you about, it fills you up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Una. and then, guys, what I should say is that snacking is terrible for our health. Your colon needs to be free of food for 5 hours, and if it's not free of food for 5 hours, it doesn't function properly. Our colon loves to be clean. I don't know if there's any clean freaks here, but that's essentially what your gut is. It just loves to be clean. And the benefit of using things like teff grain, you okay, honey? You're getting hot there. The benefit of, how's it feeling? Is it cooking? Okay, it's taking its while. I might turn it off a little bit. I can do it if you want, hon. But yeah, so the benefit of teff grain, you can see it. as it goes through, like it scrapes your colon clean, and actually when you go for a poo, you can see it in your poo. It's quite cool. You're like, look at the cleaning agent. So we also sell this on our website. So we sell it in these bags. So we sell 1 kilo at a time, and again we deliver that all over Ireland and into the UK as well. And
Again,
loads.
it's really handy. I love soaking the seed in yogurt overnight.
Yeah.
Have it in my tub, take it with me in the car, ready to go.
Legend.
Brilliant, like.
Yeah, it's really like, it is mega. It really is mega. Like, I'm often asked, what's the one change you would advise anyone to make? Incorporate Steph into your life. That's it. Just like, if you can incorporate one ingredient, that's it. Because I think, like, Maria knows this better than anyone, like, health can be overly complicated, you know, and people are like, oh, you know, this process and these cultures. Just take this ingredient, like, put it in yogurt and eat it the next day, and it is literally going to change your health.
So nourishing.
So nourishing, so nourishing. I'm going to turn this up.
One of your products I love as well is the flaxseed, the Happy Tummy Medicine.
Yes.
That's a great product.
Yeah.
And I've been gifting that to people as well. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so this Happy Tummy Medicine, it's essentially a tiny bit of sea salt, freshly milled golden flaxseed, and then the teff, and then you soak that in yogurt, and that's kind of got the right ratios of things to just help flush you out, keep you moving. So that's something that I'll go on the road with and go traveling with. Inevitably, when I travel or go on holidays, if I were to depend on the diet there, I would become constipated like that. So again, you know, a few tablespoons of that in the morning or throughout the day, absolute game changer.
Just replace the bread I make. It's an ounce of bread.
Okay.
I use an ounce of that.
Well, so what flour are you using?
So the wholemeal flour.
Wholemeal flour. Okay. So what I would do in that instance is keep the bran that you're using, but replace a little bit of the flour you're using with the teff grain, because you're baking it in a tin, aren't you?
Yes.
So it's going to, the tin is going to hold it up. You know what I mean? You don't actually need to use as much flour as you're using. So maybe do like 70% flour to 30% teff grain and still use your bran. The reason being is because your bran is where all the phytase is. So the phytase is that digestive enzyme. And then the other thing is, you're not soaking that bread, are you? So what you do now is make the dough, leave it in the tin, sit overnight, and bake it the next day. So now you've got a digestive bread. But if you put that into the oven straight away, you're not going to get the magnesium, the calcium, the zinc. You know what I'm saying? You need to just into the tin, overnight, cover with tea towel, bake the next day. So like all your recipes, your cookies, your scones, everything. Change your... And then And then, you know, with your recipes, you know, you could do 50% wheat, 30% teff flour, you know, 20% teff grain. Exactly. There's a flour as well. Yeah. So we import it by ship from Ethiopia. It lands in the UK. We mill it there on a stone, and then it comes to us. And we get it every month. Yeah, so we're bringing in kind of a ton every month. Listen, you're a legend. Look at them. Yeah. I love your methodology. This is great.
I'll swap it for one of those.
You get the first taste of this magical food. What's your name?
John.
John. Thank you, John. You're a legend.
If you're ordering things online, buy the digestive biscuits. So good. Oh yeah, so nourishing. Have it with a cup of herbal tea. Divine.
She's such a legend. She's so good. So basically what we try to do is we take things that people love and we make them digestible. So like we have a fermented ginger biscuit, we've got like a peppermint cacao biscuit. So we're just, we have a loaf that's kind of like a brown soda bread, but it's just making things, because I can only change someone's habitual behavior through taste. And the one thing I will say, and I think Maria will agree with me on this, is that healthy food should taste amazing. If something doesn't taste good, it doesn't have enzyme activity in it. Like, food has to taste good, and if it doesn't, you know it's not alive. Amazing. It smells incredible, doesn't it? Do you guys want to smell the cardamom that John's just done here?
And like the thing about the digestive biscuits, you can't eat 2 or 3 of them.
No.
You are nourished.
That's
after
such a
one.
good point. Yeah.
Like if you had a
Yeah.
packet in the shop, you could
Yes.
An awful lot of junk food.
Totally.
Fill us.
Totally. And we're eating the junk food because our brain is malnourished and it's looking for more food. It's like, but I need B vitamins. Where are the B vitamins? Yeah. And then the other thing is we don't drink enough water. So your brain and your physical body, they need to be able to access the carbohydrate.
Stick here now. I'm not sure
Okay, perfect.
where you want to go with this.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, legend. Okay, thanks, hon. So in order for your body to be able to access the amazing fermented carbohydrate, you need to have 3 parts water in your body. So when your brain makes a thought, when you're going for a run, you need 3 parts water for every 1 part carbohydrate. And that's why, that's why we're so, guys, come on, drink water, drink 3 liters a day, blah, 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 blah. So I kind of say, for every thick slice of bread you eat or drink 3 glasses of water.
Page,
100%. Thank you so much, guys, for your help. It's lovely having people involved. I've been doing some classes over in the kind of makeshift school the last few days, and it's just lovely. It's just really nice to be here. Cork and Mayo are incredibly different places, and it's so lovely to be around quirky Cork people again. There's such a quirk down here that I really, now that I'm here, I have found myself missing. So it's a pleasure. So thank you for being so kind and lovely. Okay, guys, so I don't have bowls, but I think the porridge is going to set pretty quickly anyway. So I'm going to do up a bowl, and then because we're such a kind of intimate group, we can just kind of come up here again and do some tasting. And then anyone who hasn't photographed the recipe, I'll make sure that you guys get a photograph of it before you go. And when you do make it, please do tag me. I'd love to see it. I'm kind of at the moment considering coming off Instagram because I just hate spending my time on it. But thank you. So we do courses on the last Thursday of every month. So we've got courses up now for September, October, November, December, and on that course you learn about agriculture, you learn about the economics of food, you learn about grains. It's basically a pivot moment for your health. You learn so much. You get about 12 hours of video material. We serve you a breakfast and lunch in accordance to these ratios that I described to you today. And you meet awesome people, and then you get to swim in the most incredible water you'll ever swim in. Mayo is incredible. I'm not sure if there's anyone here from Mayo, but I remember when I moved there, and I was just astounded at the strength of the women that live there. There's a unique breed. They're just so strong and resilient and down to earth. And it's a really magical place. And the reason I ended up in Mayo, I had never been to Mayo before I moved there, but my mother and father, when they were 16, they went on their first camping holiday on Keel Beach. And then before my mom died, she spent a lot of time going to healers. And she went to a healer on Achill Island. And because of going to that healer, we got another year with her. So that's why I'm in Mayo, because I just think it's a very spiritual and magical place. And the work that I'm doing is basically all because of my mom. And I feel like I'm kind of continuing the work that she started with me as the beautiful kind of person she was. So I am just going to do up some of this now. So guys, also, this porridge is absolutely exceptional cold. So you could make it and eat it for days. Or if you don't like porridge, you could just soak it in yogurt overnight and make it into sort of like a bircher. But yeah, I will. I forgot to bring. It's like a ladle. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm normally way more organized than this. But here we are. I know. I was like, how will I do? And I was like, I bet they're going to be really cool and everyone will just come up. But the pot is so hot from the gas. Oh, mate. Thanks. Okay, perfect. Right, guys. So I will say one thing, that so I've spent time in Ethiopia, of course, and I adore it. Really highly recommend Southern Ethiopia in particular. So I was making this for them, and they were like, we do not. They don't use teff grain as teff grain. They thanks, babe. They don't. They only use the flour. So they make this injera flatbread, which I've been making throughout the weekend with people. So this is kind of wild for them. But hey ho, it works. So that's the most important thing. The most important thing is everyone has a good shit every day. And then beyond that, life is just dreamy. So when you plate up the porridge, you want to just like sprinkle, you can soak the seaweed if you like, but it's gonna steam. It's going to steam on the cooked porridge anyway, so there's kind of no need to soak it. That would kind of maybe destroy yeah. And then we want like a little sprinkle. We want to sprinkle a sea salt. So again, if any of you work out and do any sort of movement or bike, if you sweat a lot, this is a great breakfast to have before you go for a long cycle or anything where you think you're going to lose a significant amount of salt. Black pepper is an incredible digestive aid. And so again, any of you that feel like you've got sluggish digestion or experience bloating, I highly recommend black pepper on all your food.
Karen, what's it like to get the feedback from the people that experience the education that you live through, work through, and impart?
I think the coolest thing that ever happened was this guy based in Swords in Dublin. He was booked in to get his colon removed, and I don't know how he found out about us, but he found out about the Happy Tummy bread, and he started eating that for 2 weeks before the surgery. And he got to the hospital, and they were like, "Oh, we don't need to take out your bowel anymore. You're fine." Yeah, so that was a cool moment. And then this guy travels down from Donegal on Christmas Eve one Christmas, and I had no bread left. I just had my own 2 loaves that I was bringing back to Cork. And he was like, "I've traveled for 4 hours to be here. I've got diverticulitis. I've been wanting to try your loaf, blah, blah." Anyway, he was on all medication. And so I gave him my loaves. He went away, and he emailed me over Christmas, and he was like, "I'm off all the medication. The doctor can't believe what's happening." So every day I have people emailing me being like, "I was on medication for 20 years, 26 years, whatever, and the doctor can't believe what's going on. I'm now off all medication." So yeah, it feels really cool to be able to give something to someone that's going to allow them to
live a better life,
be independent again,
lovely, well said.
So I'm just going to trickle some delicious maple syrup. John, you're up. You get to taste this. I feel like putting a mic on you.
I can put a mic on John.
See, you guys, I guess you can see in the camera how it looks, yeah? Yeah, to get a little bit of everything.
He's usually telling stories through his face. So watch his eyes closely. Watch the smile. Do that again. Well done. Nigella hasn't a patch on you.
Yeah.
We've got triple dipping going on here.
That's yours. I'm going to do some plates for the lovely audience who's been incredibly kind. So yeah, it's really cool, Tracie. I suppose it's really cool, offering something. Is this your partner down here?
My wife. Yeah.
Do you want to bring?
Share.
Do you know what we need?
No.
Go
on, bring it down with you. Take it away. Go sit down and relax.
Enjoy that now. Porridge at 4 p.m. of a Sunday. Nothing like it. I got to say, guys, when I said to Ballymaloe that I would do this, I didn't realize that I would be doing it at 4 p.m. on a Sunday in this heat. Otherwise, I might have done something a bit more 4 p.m. appropriate. But here we are, having porridge at 4 p.m.
Tell me how your weekend has been, because you've been incredibly busy.
Yeah, it's been amazing, Tracie. Yeah, no, it's being here, being here, of course, is amazing. Being surrounded by my culture is amazing. I feel like I've probably lost a bit of my quirkiness. Just, fit in different places I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
And being back here has made me aware of that, firstly. And I want to bring it back. Interacting with, just the beautiful people that work here. And I don't know, I think Cork people, we don't apologize for who we are. And we're really honest. And I think I used to run this company in London. And when I moved back to Ireland, I thought I was going to really struggle, selling stuff that I sell. But because maths and science are taught to such a good degree here, Irish people have a fundamental understanding around what it takes to be healthy, And we all know a farmer. We're all related to a farmer. So we do actually understand our food system to some degree, as much as like Aldi and Lidl have tried to
knock it out of us.
Yes. But it's been absolutely incredible being here. And I think what I've learned mostly is what I talk about isn't well known. So in my classes, people are there and I'm talking about phytase and I'm talking about, the fiber and how it works and how it keeps us alive. And people are like, I'm a bit overwhelmed by this information. And so, but I can't but help myself tell you everything because I have one shot to tell you everything. So I want to tell you everything.
Your mission to educate and allow people to change their lives, become independent,
exactly that.
Absolutely essential, or you're not living well.
Yeah, exactly that, Tracie. And it's just like it is a behavioral shift. And like one thing that everyone can do today is just soak their food. Like, and if you do that, you are going to change your health significantly. Like, it's not hard. And sometimes people will be like, oh, Karen, I've no time to soak my food. I'm like, you are not in the pot. It's not you in the pot for 24 hours.
So you're saying no excuses.
I'm just saying no excuses, man. My patience threshold is wearing thin because I'm like, I'm not going to be around for a long time. You know what I mean? I wish I was going to be around for 200 years because it's going to take us a long time to change the food system.
And I selfishly asked you something at the beginning of your demonstration, which was, when is the book coming out? And not to put you under pressure, but we've got a 3, 5, 10-year plan and it's coming out in that time frame because you are so busy, because education is really, really, really critical right now. And you've just said that your passion to educate and give people what it is they need in order to create that independence is absolutely essential right now. 100%. But you are willing to take that step back in however many years, 3 to 5, to write that book so that you do have that legacy piece.
Absolutely. And I guess, the team I have in Mayo, they're Connemara women and they're just exquisite. And I guess because our brand has started building momentum in some circles, we now have people coming over from the UK to work with us, which is really, so I think that was probably another moment for me when someone reached out to me being like, I'd like to come, and work with you. Like, that's cool.
It's huge.
And we do have people come from all over the world to do our courses. Like we had a couple come from New Zealand. So like those are cool moments. And I'm not saying like that's not an ego moment for me because I lost my ego a long time ago. As soon as you start talking about poo, and I think it's really important not to have an ego. But so I'm not saying it out of ego. I'm just saying that like Ireland is also having a moment. So I was in Parabera in Italy back in March. Parabera is this like industry thing for like females who are kind of leading the food movement. And there was 300 women from all around the world at this event. And all the women that weren't Irish were like, Ireland's having a moment, man. Like Ireland's having a moment. There's something happening in Ireland that's really like magnetic right now. Wow. And so that was a cool moment. Like me and all the other Irish girls were like, really? Like, wow, But I guess when you're here at this festival and you're surrounded by like honesty and kindness and support, you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty rare.
And not to be shy.
Yeah.
When you've got a conviction, don't be shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother would be so happy about all those speech and drama lessons she put me through. They're paying off now. So yeah, it's a great time to be Irish. I lived away for 13 years. And I'm really glad that I started the company away because when I started the company, my self-esteem was incredibly low because I had been malnourished for such a long time. And I didn't have the resilience necessary to deal with some, obviously it's not all roses. Some people are like, your one has notions. What is she doing? But then most people are really cool,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about good vibes, isn't it?
Like over time, once you find yourself, you then find your tribe.
You do.
Eventually, and then the tribe finds you. Yeah.
You do. And I suppose like I'm learning how to showcase that I'm well-intentioned. You know what I'm saying?
Nicely said.
Before, I might have been like super challenging, but not supportive.
Yeah.
And that's no good. Like no one's going to change anyone's behavior by being like, da 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 da. Now go forth. No.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, it's taking me a while to understand, just teach people to soak their food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where you
If that's
start.
the one message for everyone to
That's
leave
it,
with
mate.
today.
That's it.
That's huge.
That's
Yeah.
it.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Within 3 days?
3 days, my colon
Your
health
body.
changed,
Yeah.
and then nervous system after 2 weeks, brain health after a year, and now I used to have like really bad endometriosis, like projectile vomiting, diarrhea, the whole works. It was great for 7 days a month, and loads of ibuprofen, loads of paracetamol, and now my period comes and I'm like la 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 la. So it like food works.
Yes.
Food works.
Let food be thy medicine.
Absolutely.
And on that
Absolutely.
note, Karen, thank you so much for
Thanks, babe.
closing
Thank
the
you.
Ballymaloe Festival of Food. We
Thanks.
can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I've got such a gorgeous looking paper plate here with